I mean, I used to be a little boy. Like we
As,
all used to be that little
especially
kid,
as
and now here we
simple
are.
as it is. I mean, it's just basic chords. But I can still listen to Today and the other hits. But I just love it, man. Like Geek USA, Silverfuck, all that. They're just great. I love it. Just a great album. Your turn.
How many we got left?
Two.
I think.
But we're not doing honorable mentions?
You can.
Because
I think I'm gonna have one.
I'm
have
stuck
to kick
on
out.
3. So I'm nowhere to go here.
You'll be able to name it at the end. It's all right.
Okay, I'm gonna go Alice in Chains Dirt.
Yep. I had a hard time. That was my 7.
Alice in Chains Dirt. I mean, Facelift's a great album.
Facelift holds a strong place in my heart, but
It does.
Dirt is
But
a great album.
There's not a bad song on Dirt.
No, there's not. So. What would be the worst song on Dirt?
Angry Chair.
See, I would think it would be. I can't even think of what it is. What's the one where he's got the at the beginning where he's got that.
What the hell?
Yeah,
have I- Junkhead.
Junkhead's
Come on,
probably,
Brooks.
that's probably my least favorite of all time.
Yeah.
Angry Chair, even though I've heard it many times, that's a great song.
I don't like
I
Angry
like
Chair.
it. And if you're ever teaching somebody a guitar, that's probably one of the
Well, it's
easiest
'cause Lane-
songs.
Lane wrote it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
there.
like one of the easiest songs to learn on
But
planet Earth.
I think, God, that's right there.
Yeah,
My last two are pretty close to it.
Great album. What do you got, John? Bring us home.
This is the last one.
What's he laughing?
No, it's not.
No,
That's it.
I think we got 2.
No,
I got 1,
This
2. I got 2.
This
Got
to
2 more.
me is one of the epitome of fake it till you make it albums.
This will be interesting.
I remember hearing the first one, and it was the guy that Dr. Dre was telling us about. You were hearing about him on MTV, and you're thinking, what? Like
It went
a
straight.
white dude with blonde hair and blue eyes wearing a big yellow
Is
jumpsuit?
he
Like,
drunk?
what are we doing
No,
right
he's
now?
not-
What are we doing right
He's
now?
not drinking.
Then the first album came out, and it's almost like nursery rhymes. You're like,
Hi, my
okay,
name is-
yeah,
My name
Do you
is.
want to see me jab 9-inch nails to each one of my eyelids? You're like, are you serious right now? But then the second album came out, which is the Marshall Mathers LP, and it was,
What was the first one? Eminem Show?
Slim Shady.
Slim Shady. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And you hear The Way I Am, Stan, which is
That
a
was Stan. That's a good tune.
phenomenal song.
And it's got that chick from what band? Dido, yeah.
Which
Dildo.
it's
I don't
almost
think
like
it's
it's
dildo.
almost like Mary Clayton helps make that song. If you just have him, and you don't,
It's kind of like
have-
Mary J. Blige helps
Nas.
Puff Daddy help that Sting song when Notorious
That's
B.I.G.
Faith Evans.
That was
Now I
Faith
know
Evans.
you're not around.
Mary
You're
J's
just-
with Nas. Not
Yeah, that was Faith
She was
Evans.
on that too.
But
No, you in heaven still
The
smiles.
Way I
down.
Am,
Faith Evans. That's right.
That's what I
That's
just
the
said.
same person.
but The Way I Am, Stan, Kim, which is a very, very
Kim, that's the same person.
aggressive song. Like that's the one where he's throwing her in and he's getting ready to drown her in the water and everything. That album to me,
I don't know.
it should have won Best Album that year. I told y'all that was the year I
Against
went to
who?
the
Who won it?
That,
He was at the Grammys.
Steely Dan.
He was there.
John,
Steely-
I remember that.
He
He
story.
was at the Grammys.
Steely Dan
Steely
won
Dan
that
is
year.
brilliant though.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
Steely Dan is
Steely
but-
Dan, your
yeah,
fingers got to be doing
Right.
some crazy stuff.
But in 2001, Steely Dan had no business winning album of the
9/11,
year.
pour out some liquor.
So to me, that's my next one. It's not my last one, but that's my next one. That album was a fake it till you make it. He went dark, he went angry, he went aggressive, but he did his own thing, and he was going through a lot of personal shit at the same time.
Right?
So that follow up to what he started with, that one's brilliant.
Kaylee was pregnant. What's his daughter's name?
Haley.
Haley. She was pregnant that year.
She's
That was the
probably
year. That was the
6.
year he did Stand
She
with
got
Eminem.
pregnant at 6.
Haley pregnant at 6.
That was the year he did
Did you
Stand.
get pregnant at 6?
No, that was the year he did Stand with Elton John because of all the homophobic.
Stan was the guy that got her pregnant?
John's
No, Stan was the song, but that
Are
was.
you taking a smoking break
I
while
got
we're
it. I
filming?
got
I'm-
piss.
I'm-
You're
I'm-
good. Y'all are up right now.
You're going to
smoking
piss in the
cigar.
But
shower?
that was the year he did. Listen, that was
Huh?
the year he did Stand with Elton John because of all the homophobic stuff instead of Dido. It
Okay,
was
well,
phenomenal.
you don't need to hear this next one because you don't know nothing about this. But my next one is Leviathan by Mastodon. Mastodon is my absolute favorite band of all time. I am currently at 3 Mastodon tattoos. I love them. I love everything they do.
You love him so much we saw him in concert how many weeks ago?
2, 3,
2 weeks ago.
3.
We were there
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Right now,
Great.
we were
great
sitting
band.
in an arena.
And what got me into
Watching
them
wrestling.
was listening to Blood and Thunder. I watched the video somewhere.
And they played that song.
Yeah, they did. And I was like blown away. I was like, what is this oral experience? AURL.
Like oral
And they're just perfect to me. And that album encapsulates what they do. It's a thematic album about Moby Dick, Iron Tusk, Sea Beast, Ahab. Like every song on there is just so perfect. Megalodon, they're just so damn good.
It's
and,
a good album. It's like when they went from death.
It
It's a
encapsulated what
defining
they are. Yeah.
moment of where
Because
they were
remission
to where
was
they are.
remission was basically just taking a pipe wrench to your teeth and just bashing them
Well,
all in.
that-
And
Did you
then
say they're your
Leviathan,
favorite band of all time?
they are.
They are his
Okay.
favorite.
They
But
are.
between that album and you have to admit, between that album and Emperor's Sand, they're two different bands.
They are in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
but there's still a lot of things they still do the same.
But
You know, the breakdowns where they've got these intricate riffs and all. But yes, they're experimental to another level. They've taken, I think the only other band that does experimental metal really well like them is Opeth.
why do you think they've done that?
I just think it's all the culmination of all their influences. I think everything they listen to, I think it's just great. And then they just, you know, they just come from a different viewpoint than a lot of metal guys. I mean,
Yeah.
Slayer would never write an album like Once Around the
They
Sun
could.
or The
They
Hunters.
could.
They're not capable of that. They're it's all, you know, chugging metal.
Mastodon hasn't made about it.
No, they haven't. And even Remission would probably be if everybody listened to it, they're probably their least favorite. But it's and I didn't like it at first. It was my least favorite by far. But I've grown to like it because it's just so brutal.
I like Once More Around the Sun.
Yeah, I
think
do
that's
too.
That's my favorite Mastodon.
Emperor is my favorite, and then probably Blood Mountain. Leviathan holds a special place in my heart because it's just superb. I listen to it in my truck. What I'll do is I'll grab a CD, I'll throw it in my big truck, and I'll listen to it for like 3 weeks straight, and then I'll switch it out. Like I just got done listening to Death, Scream Bloody Gore, and then I put 72 Seasons. The 72 Seasons been in for the last month, and then I'll eventually get something new. And I put Leviathan in about 6 months ago, and I hadn't listened to the album in its entirety in forever, and I was just like, God bless. This album is just a brutal onslaught of music. It's just so good. And if you like metal and can stomach that type of music, that's a great album to get interested in this band on. So that was my and again, to go from Remission to that and the polish that they came out with. And it's just great. It's just great. I love it. And it was kind of before Braun started singing. So they really only had two singers.
Yeah.
Brent and Troy were the only ones singing.
Yeah.
I don't think Braun sings anything on that album. But then when they come into their own and they start having three singers, and it creates this cacophony, this beautiful cacophony of three. I mean, name me another band that's popular that has three singers that are completely different in the way they sing.
And
I'm not talking about Paul and John singing
George.
harmonies. Yeah,
George,
right.
yeah.
Paul,
They're-
John,
they're-
George.
But you know what I'm saying? They're like kind of the same voice in a way.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I mean, there's not many, right?
But and the stuff that Braun
Holy drum
does
the green.
while he's singing.
Right. I don't know how
I
Braun
mean, he's the
plays
top
and
five
sings.
drummer maybe of all time.
In metal, for sure. I mean, you get into jazz drummers,
So,
it's a different animal.
We got two more picks left.
All right, yes. Well, we
So
got
you've
one,
got
and
two
then
more.
you got one. You got two, we got one.
All right. I'm
John,
gonna-
what are you doing?
I'm gonna
What-
save my
is
favorite
he on
for last.
Adderall? What is
She's okay. Maybe.
Come on, man. Let me know what I'm doing.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
Get your
go.
Magna PI ass over here.
Their second album was an EP, so I feel like I can go with this pick. I'm gonna go with 9 Inch Nails' The Downward Spiral. I think that's a phenomenal album. That's one of those albums.
What? Speaking of which, what is Soundgarden's second album? Louder Than Love was one, and
That's,
then was Bad Motorfinger two.
No.
They had some
Because
stuff
they
before
had
that.
Screaming Life.
Yeah.
They had like Flop. They had some
But
of
it's kind of like my next pick. You may not agree with it because of that, because nobody knows about those.
yeah,
Really, Louder Than Love is kind of what most people consider their first album, right?
probably
So Pretty Hate Machine is what?
first.
That's their very first album.
They did Pretty Hate Machine. Then they did Wish, which had 6 songs on
Yeah,
it. Or
okay.
maybe
All right.
7, which isn't
All right.
an album.
That's fine.
But the Downward Spiral was probably that was a pretty amazing album.
Hey, what are you doing right here?
I'm just
Oh.
topping it
Yeah,
off
top.
because I put so much whiskey in it.
You did.
And that year they
You're like,
did
what are you doing?
Woodstock. You gave me the Woodstock bootleg for Christmas that year.
The Woodstock. Oh, that boot. Okay, I think you meant like the '60s.
And I
Yeah.
was, but it's just got so many.
That's a
great
good
songs on it. It's a
and
good album.
It is good. And I didn't get in. They were one of the bands that I didn't like back in the day,
You get it?
and I got it later on. I love the Downward Spiral. It's just a great album. Great album. And again, another one of those from Pretty Hate Machine, moving on to something like that.
Two different
Different
bands.
worlds,
Two different
man.
bands.
I mean, it's amazing.
You go from Head Like a Hole to Reptile.
Yeah, right,
I mean,
right.
it's-
And to think that like these are 20-something-year-old kids that in a year and a half, 2 years maybe, they've grown that much. Like it's pretty impressive. John, what do you got?
Last one, John.
John, are you alive?
Yes, this album has my favorite song from this band out of everything that they ever did. I'll let each of you get one guess as to what song that is, but it's Dirt.
What your favorite song is off of that? For me, it's "Damn That River" and "Rain When I Die."
Wood.
I knew. I didn't want to guess that because it was too obvious.
That song.
"Rain When I Die" and "Damn That
every
River"
time
are
my
the
brain
best.
just
Wood is the
completely-
best song on that.
My brain completely locks in when
Yeah,
that
it's a
song
great
comes
tune.
on, and I'm like, "Yep, here we go."
And what made that album, or what made that song before that album came out? The singles EP,
Singles
the
EP,
singles
yeah.
LP.
Yeah,
That came out. It
which
was,
Teeter had on his
Great
movie
soundtracks all the
soundtracks.
yeah, but I mean that song came out before that album.
But I mean,
And then they threw it
you
on.
have Down
It's
in a
great
Hole,
tune.
you have them Bones,
Yeah.
Wood, Rooster. It's just, it's phenomenal, man. I mean, it
I
truly
hate
is.
I hate when albums, and that's a perfect example. It's difficult for me to listen to Angry Chair and Rooster and Wood just because they've been played so much. Rooster especially. When I first heard that, I mean,
because they're
when
great
we
songs.
were, well, I know what I'm saying. Like when we were kids, I mean, that album came out, and we're like, holy crap, this is fucking, and then you listen to Rooster, and it's just so great. And then they play it. They release it as a single, and it just wears you out. And you're like, I can't listen to Rooster.
But it's still a
anymore.
good song.
Not
It
trying to be
is.
funny, but that's what they did with Crack Rearview Mirror.
I didn't get into that.
That's what they did. Crack
That's a
Rearview.
great
That's what
I
they
knew a
did. They
chick
played
that
it
banged,
so.
what's his name?
That's why we
College.
called it Hootie
What?
105 because G105
That's
played their
classic,
shit. They played 2 songs an hour. And they ruined that album. It's like, Jesus
I can
Christ,
still
let me
remember
what it
my,
is.
my dorm room hallway window was open, and somebody in the girls' dorm across the way was playing. What was it Hold My Hand? Was there?
That's a fantastic album.
Hold
But
my
listen,
hand, let her
it's-
cry.
But they were playing Hold My Hand
All the
as
music
loud
I've
as
ever
crap,
written,
and
if
I
I
was
could
like,
have written
I
that
wanted
song,
to rip my teeth out and
Yes.
sell them to Goodwill.
I wouldn't be playing
It just-
trees for a living.
Oh man.
Who banged who?
I knew a chick that lived in that same dorm that banged the black guy Darius Rucker.
Darius Rucker.
And when what are they from? Georgia?
They're from
They're from
South
South
Carolina.
Carolina. South
She
Carolina.
banged them?
Yeah, she screwed him at some show and all this, and I
What,
remember.
at one of his shows?
Yeah, and I was like backstage after the show or whatever on a bus or something, and I was like, and I thought it was so fascinating that I knew someone who had sexual intercourse
I have
with a
story.
famous person.
I had a story with Snoop Dogg.
Yes, listen
I
to
got
this.
it.
This
Did
is
you have
great.
sex with Snoop
Come
Dogg?
on, Rory.
But can I tell the story?
Yes.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Dude, you've been married for 20 plus
Yeah.
years. That
So,
woman
the
is
girl that I
freaking
was-
All right,
love.
earplugs.
It doesn't matter. The girl I'll tell you the story. This is a great story.
It is.
So
We heard
Can I
about
cuss
this
in
a
here?
few weeks
Yeah,
ago.
something tells me you've already told me this.
But so
Go ahead.
Oh,
we're
so
we're
good.
at Lollapalooza. Is it your
This isn't about Chamberlain trying to get you into heroin.
No, that's a great story too, though. I've got
we
some good
told
stories.
that one, yeah.
No.
Okay.
So we're at Lollapalooza one year, and this girl I'm seeing at the time, I take with me.
I recall.
And that's not that girl.
Oh, okay.
No,
Different.
No,
All
that
right.
bitch was crazy.
Different train wreck.
Crazy. Oh, this girl wasn't really a train wreck. She was a stripper. Is that a train
Okay.
wreck?
She was
Not,
different.
not all
It
strippers
was
are train
fun.
wrecks.
She was an entertainer.
87%
Hey,
of
she was
them.
an
every
entertainer.
date started at
She's a hell of
Waffle
a
House at
dancer.
2:30.
Yes.
Waffle House at 2:30. That's where our date
She
started.
I got
entertainer.
nothing wrong with the
It's
Waffle
real.
House.
So anyway, I take her to Lollapalooza. It's a bunch of us going. We're at front row. Lollapalooza. We got our tickets at Spike's Music Club.
Teeter's balling.
That year, Tool
It's
headlined.
like me at a kid Toys R Us.
Tool headlined. Korn played.
Yeah.
And Snoop played and some others. So Snoop's doing his set. And the girl's with me. Let's be honest, she's pretty hot. You know, and I'm like, oh yeah. So the whole time Snoop's just like I'm fucking this girl, and I'm like, this is my girl. What are you doing?
What's happening right now?
So we're
Snoop
Snoop
we need
Dogg
to
and-
talk.
Calvin Broadus, calm it down,
So
man.
after, like, right when the set ends, this big black guy comes down. He's like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Hey." And he's like, "You guys are invited. We're gonna be at the Raleigh Hilton." And he wrote down. He's like, "Here's where we are. This is the word you got to say to get to the floor." He's like, "Come on." And he's like, "Bring your girl." And I was like, "Oh, is it cool if we come?" He said, "You can come, but we're gonna fuck your girl."
Here's the best part. She was down.
Yeah,
And maybe
you. Yeah, and I'm like,
I don't think so.
and
man.
so like I got this dilemma in my brain, you know.
Teeter's
And-
like,
and the
I can
people-
meet Snoop,
And
but
the people I'm with are like, what do we do? And I'm like, hey, you want to go fuck Snoop? And she's like, yeah.
you'd be like, are you going to
And-
use protection?
And so I'm like, We're going.
What's going on right now?
But anyway, she ends up getting.
So you ended up having sex with Snoop.
No, she ends up getting.
That would be a better ending
She
to
ends
the
up
story.
getting completely shit faced, and we don't end up.
And it doesn't happen.
And looking back,
And he dumps it right
Adam.
afterwards.
I mean,
Shit-faced
yeah, that
at
was
the-
like that was
shit-faced at the
literally
Waffle
like
House?
what. I don't. Yeah, we did actually end up the Waffle
God,
House that night.
there's nothing better
But-
than eating at the Waffle House drunk. And I know that's such a cliche thing to say, but
can
like
come, dude, but your girl's
after a
getting
concert,
railed.
we should have stopped in Asheville at a Waffle House.
I get a cheat meal every 2 weeks, and the Waffle House was mine a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
Yes.
I get it.
But to
That's
say
good,
least,
that's
no,
good.
No,
Yeah,
we
you
didn't.
can
We
come,
didn't
but your
end up
girl's
there.
getting
But
railed,
Snoop
dude.
tried to fuck my girl.
Not bad.
It would have.
All
Probably
right,
his
John.
whole posse.
We're done.
Concrete drum roll.
No,
Now
it's
we
my
got one
turn.
more.
That was my last one.
You got one more.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Oh, what did you just name?
Dirt.
Dirt.
Oh, it was you talking. Okay, so my next one is technically speaking their 6th album, but most people don't know anything about their hair.
Stop. I know where you're going.
What?
You're going straight vulgar display of power.
I am.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows about their hair metal days.
Yeah.
And I don't either. I've
Who
heard
was
a
this?
couple.
Pantera.
Like they had like some like Tiger Spank album.
Sean said today.
Dimebag Darrell was my dude, man.
No, Phil.
Was it Phil?
We were talking today on the golf course. And I said, top 5 musicians you want in a bar fight? He was like, give me that fucking lead singer from Pantera.
I said, give me
Is
Trace
he-
Adkins.
Trace Adkins.
6'9", dude. Oh
He's
man.
not that tall.
Yeah, well, yes,
Trace
he is.
Adkins
Too.
6'5".
Who was the other guy I said?
Hi, boy.
Yeah.
Hi, boy.
It was Trace Adkins. Who was the other dude
You
I said?
said
He was
Phil.
like 6'5", 6'6".
Toby Keith.
No, it wasn't Toby Keith.
I take Toby Keith. Pre-cancer.
It was somebody we were listening to on the
He's
freaking.
a better fighter pre-cancer.
It was
Got a lot
somebody we
more
were listening
energy.
to on the golf course.
I don't know, but you wanted
Whoever it was.
All right, so
Monster,
listen.
and I'm like, yeah,
so
I'll
if
take
this
that
doesn't
dude.
count, I've got a backup. Okay,
Back it
but
up.
it's
Because
to me,
I was going with it, and I didn't put it in there because it wasn't their second album.
right, but to me, it's Cowboys and Vulgar, and Vulgar would be number 1 on this list because it's just even above Mastodon. It's just such
It's
a
good.
perfect album. I have broke windshields to this album.
I was there.
I punched right
We
into
blamed
it.
it on some children.
So, yeah. But if I'm allowed to pick that would be my second album from beginning to end.
You don't put hot goddamn chili in
No, you don't. You know, that album is just absolutely brutal. It is. If you want to know what Pantera is all about, it's that. If I'm not allowed to pick that, because technically speaking, it's their
I'll let
6th
you
album.
pick it.
Okay,
But if I'm not, it's Axe's Bold as Love.
how do we go from sophomore to like graduate school? Like, what are we
Because
doing?
most
right
people
now?
don't have it. You had them. Because we
What?
bought them at those where you bought Ninja Stars, nunchucks, and bootlegs. You
What?
probably had those.
What?
The Pantera stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah. Giddy up.
Yep.
But if it's not, it's Axe's Bold as Love, which is easy. I mean, if 6 was 9, Spanish Castle Magic, Castles Made of Sand, Wait Till Tomorrow. I mean, it's my favorite Hendrix album, and it would be an easy fill-in for Vulgar, although I'd take Vulgar over it any day. I just think Vulgar's a perfect album.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh,
Absolutely.
it's Bob Seger.
Yeah, what's Seeger? You said you take Seeger on the fight.
Yes. Dear
Bob
God.
Seger.
Yes.
He's 5'10". I
No.
whoop Seger's ass.
Bob Seger's not 5'10", dude. That's a big cat, man.
You done?
Hey Siri, how tall is Bob Seger?
Waiting.
He's 5'11".
Yeah, but he was.
Yeah, but what?
he was
Yeah, but
ready to
what?
go.
You're wrong.
Yeah, but he was ready to go.
Man, this is coming from somebody that's
All right.
buying scratch-off tickets.
My-
I'm going to take his advice. Come on, man. You won
Hey,
$4.
Hey, let me tell you something.
I won 5.
I have seen this man ride the buffalo
Is
to
it-
victory.
So?
Yes. I love it.
I've seen
Buffalo.
Teeter, who you taking in a bar
Buffalo!
fight? Me or John? You got to go in a bar fight with one of us. Who you taking?
I heard that.
You're taking Herndon over me? I would whip Herndon's
You
ass.
had no idea, dude.
God.
Because I haven't been there
look,
in a
look,
long. I haven't been there in a
it's
long
my
time.
turn.
I
It's
don't
my
want to get
turn.
there.
Hurry
man.
up
Leave
and
it
talk
alone.
because we're going to cut this off.
I don't-
Go in.
I don't wanna
Go
fight
in,
anyone.
Scotty.
But
All right, go.
I mean, I've been in Atlanta with Herndon, where I thought for a minute that I was going to have to fight somebody,
Yeah.
Okay.
and I didn't want to.
Okay.
Why can we not just go on a bar fight together?
But you didn't fight.
You're not listening.
Why does that make you
Because I
believe?
prayed it away.
Why can we not just go on a bar fight together?
Hey, he said he prayed.
Why
it
don't we
away.
have to be on opposite teams?
We can.
Yeah,
We
Why
can be-
can't we just go
I
down
take
in the
both.
hole?
We
Hey,
can
I
do
take-
both.
Hey, look, I don't want to fight.
But
I
I'm
don't
gonna tell
want
you
to
right,
fight.
I ain't fighting nobody. You wearing that get
I don't want to
right?
fight either one of you.
It's all
Tell
part
you,
of the act.
sell it,
It's all
John,
part of-
sell it.
it's
All
all part
right,
of
who
the
you
act.
got, Teeter?
The greatest sophomore album of our time.
This is your number one.
Yeah, number 1. Purple by Stone Temple Pilots.
It's okay.
I
No,
wanted to put it on
it's
there, but I looked at the
flawless.
tracks and I was like, I
It's
don't know that I can do
flawless.
it.
It's
What are your
flawless.
favorite songs?
On there, Kitchenware, I love that. But what? Pretty Penny, I love.
I think that's the
Big
only album
Empty,
I own by
Big
them.
Empty, I love.
I like
Vaseline,
it.
I love. I mean,
Vaseline's
to me,
fantastic.
that whole album is perfect.
It's good.
No, they went from really
No,
okay to perfect.
Anima
Core
is
was the first one?
perfect.
Huh?
Core was the first one.
Core's the first one.
Yeah.
What was the first one?
Core.
No. What was the first album you named that was perfect?
Perfect.
No. What was your first pick
For what?
for albums?
Well, you wouldn't let me do them in order, so we have to go back.
No,
to the
you.
studio.
What did you name? It was just a perfect album.
Oh, Siamese.
Siamese Dream.
Siamese Dream. That's a perfect album. I wouldn't
think
call
Core's perfect.
Purple.
I mean, Purple's a perfect album.
I wouldn't go that far.
think
It's a
great.
good album. I
No.
wouldn't go perfect.
I can listen to Interstate Love Song on repeat.
That's a great tune.
100 times.
Yeah,
in a row.
that is a great tune.
That's a great band.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell
And
you
when
what.
they were at the peak, they were
Not
almost
Dean.
untouchable.
What's the bassist?
His brother.
What's
Another brother band.
Yeah, but what is
Yep.
his name?
I don't know.
Dean. Robert.
Frank.
Robert's bass lines make that album or make that band. If you listen to what he does, he's like
a good bass player, yeah.
he's like
Jacob.
the dude from GNR, Kagan, McKagan.
Duff.
He's just a great bassist. He
He's
writes
not bad.
great lines
Not
that
bad.
make the songs more unique than if he wasn't in the band just following root notes. I love what he does as a bassist. Because you go listen to the bass line of Interstate Love Song. It completely makes that song
I'm
what
telling
it
you,
is.
that album is amazing.
Yeah. No, it's good. I don't consider it a perfect album.
I think it's their best album. I think it's a perfect.
I would say it's their best album, sure.
It's a perfect album.
Okay. All right.
just me.
Anything to add? You got any ones that you didn't?
Honorable
include?
mentions?
Honorable, yeah.
I,
Honorable
I
mentions.
had one that I was.
What were you gonna say about Mad Donna?
I thought
I thought about it.
I thought about Like a
It
Virgin.
is a good album.
So here's my list. Like I'll let you look at it. Ride the Lightning was on there. What's the Story? Morning Glory by Oasis
That's what
was
it
on
was.
there.
What's
yeah,
the Story?
that's on
Morning Glory
mine.
was
That's
my
on my
seven,
list.
yeah.
I mean, those are
It's a good album.
And I
How
had,
do you not pick Tool?
what's right there?
I know, but how do you not pick them
Because
as your
for,
six?
for the people.
For the
For
people.
the people.
You
Yeah,
screw
you
the-
already went there. You already
screw the people.
You already. So
You
I
gotta go.
I went a different way because you already picked it. But it's
Oh.
Champagne Supernova was our graduation song.
Champagne Supernova.
Where were you
Did
while
we,
we were getting
did we
high?
have a graduation song?
Where were you while we were getting
had a
high?
graduation song. It would have been in 1990. What did we go? 4? It wouldn't have been the Freshman by the
Was it The
Verve.
Dance by Garth Brooks?
What?
I'm pretty sure that came out like 90.
How would we know this
That
song?
was at my
no.
first
How
prom.
would we know this song? Because I didn't.
At my first prom, that was the last song they played. The Dance.
Looking back,
On the
What are you doing?
memory of
the dance we shared. I don't know the
eight
words.
stars above.
What's the name?
For a moment, all
And
the
I
world was right.
got
How
a
would I
tractor
know
Did you ever
that
say
you'd
goodbye?
ever say
plowing the
goodbye?
fields.
Went to a concert and,
And-
you're like, you were
and
at a
I know
concert? I sure damn
The
did.
bigger
I
the
was
tire
at
on the
that.
truck.
Oh my God, he's
What?
such a great performer.
Who?
Gar.
I watched a documentary about him. Pretty interesting dude, man. Like, I'm not into his music, but I liked his life story, you know.
I tell you one that you probably like.
that
if you
chick with
watch
the
it, it's
big-
on Netflix, the Forever McGregor, the Colin McGregor one. Yes, I'm Colin McGregor. Fantastic. Really is.
All right, well, we're putting this one to bed. I think we've ended our sophomoric picks. John, you got anything else?
I don't. Get it.
All right, you going to piss in the shower a
Taking
third
these
time? All
boys to
Giddy up.
bed.
right. Hey, Giddy.